Hello dear student, I am Varun Nishat from LPM school. In this video, we are going to discuss about the evaporation process. Student, we are discussing about the separating the components of mixture. In previous video, we are discussed about the separating method, that is sublimation. And in this video, we are discussed about the next separating method, that is evaporation. Now, first evaporation. Evaporation is a process. First, we know that you already very well known about evaporation. It is a process through which the liquid converted into vapor below its boiling point. Is called evaporation. Is called evaporation. So thing is that, dear student, the evaporation, it is a process through which the liquid converted into vapor below its boiling point is called evaporation. So now first evaporation is done by ink. Very common example, ink, and we all of us familiar from the ink. हम ink से सब लोग परिचित हैं, that is ink. And ink जो होता है वो मिक्सचर होता है. Dear student, maximum useful things, lot of useful things are in the form of mixture. तो ink जो होता है, जैसे हम राइटिंग करते हैं, डिफरेंट टाइप्स के इंक होते हैं, तो ये भी मिक्सचर होता है, कोलाइडल मिक्सचर होता है, मिक्सचर ऑफ डाई प्लस वाटर. ये डाई प्लस वाटर का मिक्सचर होता है. अब इसको कैसे सेपरेट करेंगे? विद द हेल्प ऑफ इवापोरेशन प्रोसेस. सो इट इज अ सेपरेट द डाई फ्रॉम इंक with the help of evaporation process. As first we take the 250 ml water, 250 ml water, sorry ml beaker, which capacity to that, and take the watch glass. Now we take the 250 ml beaker, and after that 250 ml की कैपेसिटी का बीकर लेंगे और उसमें half filled water, and after that we take the 2 to 5 drop of ink, 5 drop of ink on them. 5 drop of ink on them. 2 to 5 drop of ink on them, and after that take a wire gauge, which put on the tripod stand. This wire gauge is stable on the tripod stand. This tripod stand contain the wire gauge, and on the wire gauge we put the 250 ml beaker, and on the mouth of beaker we put the watch glass, and in the watch glass we should take the 2 to 5 drop of ink. हम ink को 2 to 5 drop ink लेंगे and supply the heat to the supply the heat to the beaker. After supplying the heat, ये तो पूरा process है. Now it is a tripod stand, and then burner, wire gauge, and on the wire gauge we put the beaker which fill the water from half filled water. So figure showing evaporation of ink. Evaporation of ink. Now, in this way, how the process has been takes place. So first step है, let's take the first of all take 250 ml beaker, 250 ml beaker, and fill half water, and put on the tripod stand, and then with the help of wire gauge that is given in the figure, wire gauge, and supply the heat from burner, and mouth, and put the watch glass on the mouth of put the watch glass on the mouth of beaker, and after that boiling of water, vapor evolve from boiling of water, touch the bottom of watch glass, then ink get start evaporating, and after some time the whole ink get evaporated, and non-volatile dye is remain in the watch glass, watch glass remain in the watch glass and in this way we can separate the dye from ink. Separate the dye from ink with the help of evaporation process. So this is the process that is involved during the separation of ink from the separation of the water. And generally ink is a mixture of dye and water, so we can separate with the help of evaporation process. After evaporation, the water, that is ink, the water is get evaporated and the non-volatile substances, that is dye, is remain residue in the watch glass. So in this way we can separate the mixture of dye and water. Water get evaporated, water, that is ink. Ink is a mixture of water and dye. So you can maybe say that ink get evaporated, dyes remain constant, remain residue in the watch glass. You maybe also say that the water get evaporated from the dye. Dye is a non-volatile substances, that is remain residue into the watch glass. So in this way we can separate the. Now preparing the pure crystal of copper second sulfate. Now first we know that the copper second sulfate, CuSO4, we take to perform this experiment with the help of copper sulfate pentahydrate, that is 5s2. First we take this copper sulfate pentahydrate because 5 molecule S2 is connected from this copper sulfate molecule. So this copper sulfate pentahydrate is called copper sulfate pentahydrate because 5 molecule of S2O are attached to the copper sulfate molecule. Pentahydrate. Now how we find the pure crystal of copper sulfate? Now first we take the 10 gram of CuSO4 into 5s2. 5s2O in a solution. So make 10 gram of CuSO4, that is copper sulfate pentahydrate, in a solution and filter from this solution को फिल्टर करेंगे एंड सॉल्यूशन को फिल्टर कर दिया एंड देन filtered solution of CuSO4 5s2o, CuSO4 5s2o transferred into China dish में ट्रांसफर कर देंगे एंड सेम थिंग हैपन। अब वही जो प्रक्रिया जो मैंने जो हम लोगों ने टेक्निक अपनाई थी, सपोज पुट द China dish into this China dish put into the on the help of wire gauge, and then supply the heat from the burner and tripod stand, wire gauge and burner supply the heat to the China dish which containing copper sulfate solution, filtered solution of copper sulfate transferred into China dish and supply heat and two-third water get evaporated from the solution। 2/3 वाटर जो है इस सोल्यूशन में से जो फिल्टर्ड किया हुआ है सोल्यूशन में से 2/3 वाटर इवापोरेट हो जाएगा एंड द रिमेनिंग सोल्यूशन पुट on safe place for 1 day हम 1 दिन के लिए रख देंगे एंड वी फाइंड pure crystal of copper sulfate pentahydrate। In this way, copper sulfate pentahydrate. In this way, we can find dear student, we can find the different types of pure substances with the help of evaporation process. Another aspect, another separating method we will discuss in the next video.